YouTube fans, here again. And it got me thinking, this one. Got me thinking. I remember talking about the best films of 1989, but one I've never done before. Never done. And that is films from the 90s. So I might just do a series of these, and I might not, but I might just do a series of these. Just move this out of the way. Because I always say it, I don't want to be done for copyright. So at the end of the day, I realised, why not this one? Why not? Why not? And this is films what I feel are underestimated from the 90s. Because I've got to be open and I've got to be honest that the 90s was an underestimated day. And it was. Because unlike today, we get hundred, not needed, fucking remakes, comedies as funny as an STD, horrors, boo-hoo dumpsters, remakes, re-shittenings, more shittenings, no action stars, no imagination, computer effects, look like a video game. And then you go back in what, the 90s, you see a difference. You see a difference. And yes, they did have remakes in the 90s, but not every so fucking, all the fucking time. All the time. Back then, let's think of some remakes. Night of the Living Dead, done a lot better. Very underestimated. The things what wasn't that good, they bettered it. Like the barber character wasn't a fucking wimp. I already talked about it. Jake Fair, a lot more violent, a lot more edgier, a lot more better. And the list goes on. But there wasn't like every fucking minute a remake, a reshitting it. Back then, you had directors what knew what the fuck they were directing. They knew what they were doing. They had something what Hollywood, which I got Donkeywood, is lacking these days. Imagination. Say it again. Imagination. And when you think about it, the 90s wasn't PC pussified. Wasn't PC pussified. And I remember Sky TV, you know. Back then, in the early 90s, like 1990, 91, they took chances. There was a thing, it's very rare these days. It's very rare. You know what it's called? You know what it's called? Imagination. But you know what else it was? I know it's very rare to hear this word these days. It's called entertainment. Yeah, entertainment. But yeah, I remember the 90s well. You rented films, you had other films, and it wasn't PC pussified. You go boohoo dumpstairs. Back in the 90s, you had a thing which is very rare these days. It's very rare. You know what it was? 18. They still had the 18 rating. And you had good films back then, you know. I remember right there. You had People Under the Stairs. I remember reviewing it. One of my favourite of Wes Craven films. You had action films. And I remember that Sylvester Stallone was making it big again because, you know, he did Rocky 5, which is not one of my favourites. And some of his careers went a bit. But he was only into 1993. His big blockbuster had to be Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger to me is the highlight of Sylvester Stallone. It's his career bouncing back up from the golden days of the 80s. You know, whether he was doing the Rambos or the Rockies. This was Psy coming back big time. Cliffhanger, roughly about the same year. You had Demolition Man. And I remember rightly, you had the third Lethal Weapon film. I love it, Lethal Weapon 3. I remember seeing it on the cinema. Loved it. Still do. I still do. So you had all these date films, and remember at the 90s, you had, you know, Sandra Bullock, which was making it big. And it's in the name for itself is Speed. You had Jurassic Park, which was the first film out in 1993. And this was Steven Spielberg now hitting it big, you know, think about it. The 70s, you had Jaws, you had Ghost and Outings of the Third Time. Then when it was getting to the 80s, you had this biggest highlight ever, that being E.T. And of course, there was always that debate who directed it, being poltergeist, come out the same name, whether it was John Hooper or Steven Spielberg or whatever. I still enjoyed it. Until the remake ruined it. And so this was Steven Spielberg now coming into the 90s. Start coughing. And at the time, dinosaur movies were extinct. They were extinct. You know, people always remember the golden days of stop motion. And even though I love stop motion, Steven Spielberg wanted to make it more realistic, more believable. And I admit, I saw Jurassic Park when it first came out on the big cinema, and I loved it. I also loved the second one, being in Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Then you had other date films, like let's say like Independence Day, one of the best boasting sci-fi films ever. Then, if I remember rightly, Pierce Brosnan managed to get his role as James Bond in 1995. You had GoldenEye, then you had Tomorrow Never Dies, and so on. So Pierce Brosnan did a new image, a new look, brought Bond now into the 90s. So I like that. The 90s took risks, they took chances, something Hollywood doesn't do anymore. No imagination. They can't take a chance. They're too scared to take a chance. No imagination. Well, look at it. Re-shitting-ins, more re-shitting-ins. PC Pussified with the 12 rating. Back then, it was date. It was date. And that's what I'm getting at. Back then, they took chances. You know what else I like? Woodard Hour. May ye rest. Because we all know Woodard Hour through the 70s and 80s, whether it be the golden days of Blade Runner, and you know, he did other date films, even with Sylvester Stallone in Night Arts and Blindfolded, but he had to be in the best. When he was getting into the early 90s, 92, he had been the best sci-fi horror film, which pisses me off. It's very hard to get on DVD. Action sci-fi horror film being split second. Practical effects again. I know it's a dirty word these days, but yeah, Woodard Hour fighting an alien. Futuristic, yes, I know it never happened. It was based, let me think, I think after 2008 or the late 90s, it was based in that era. But what futuristic movie does happen in that era? And I like that. It was a big hit film in the theatres, you know, roughly the same they did Red Block, another film very hard to get hold of, where he has a chain on his neck, which I always wonder if they used the idea in the Running Man, you know, where Arnie's in prison and they've got them things on the neck and his dad break out and makes the head blow up. Well, they used that in Red Block. Futuristic prison film, you've never seen it. Another unestimated film by Woodard Hour, may he rest. Two damn good films for the 90s. But the best action film with two action stars would have to be Don Ford Van Dam and Dolph Lundgren. They get all the fucking sequels, that being Universal Soldier. Universal Soldier in 1992 had to be the big boasting film of that era. I've already said it, Basic Instincts, so I'm not going to say that one again. You want to see me review, it's still up there. Damn good review. And you know, you had a lot of raunchy erotic films, like I said, Basic Instincts. You had Body of Evidence, Madonna in an heyday, so on it all. You had a lot in that era, you know, you had a lot. And back then, Hollywood was very unestimated. They had imagination. I keep saying that word, imagination. There wasn't PC pussified. They weren't afraid to take chances. Horror movies had balls, had guts, and plenty of them. You had action films. You still had action stars like fucking just said it. Dolph Lundgren, Don Ford Van Dam, Psy when he was doing his heyday. You know, he was doing his fucking heyday. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger, Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1990 had been the best action sci-fi film, for the remake ruined it, being Joker Retour. You had the best sequel ever, being Exterminator 2. Judgment Day. That the most been I love the original because it's more of a sci-fi horror film. But I do love the second one. Very underestimated. Very damn good. Everybody knows it. Exterminator 2. Judgment Day. And you know what I mean? You've had all these date films. All these date films. You've had date music videos, you know. You're never going to see that now. Never. Hollywood won't take chances like that anymore. They think 12 is the magic number, even though they forget the days of Basic Instincts. They forget the days of Universal Soldier and big films like that. Well, actually had 18 on it. I know that's a naughty word these days. So I miss that era. I miss the era what was unestimated there. Moving about it is. So I'll probably talk about some more of the films of the 90s next. Why not? Because you're never going to see films like that nowadays. Directors don't want to take chances anymore. Producers don't. And it shows it with all these reshitting. But until then, be smart, be safe. See you later.